back to another video. First one in a while because I didn't do anything for like 3 weeks, and then boom, when it rains it pours. I got ultra busy as per usual. This is what always happens. And I've just been doing stuff for the last few days, and I will be doing more stuff for the next couple weeks. So not a lot of time to pack this in, but I'm going to do it. This is an update about everything. I sold a bunch of stuff, I bought a bunch of stuff, I played a bunch of stuff, and I have a bunch of stuff coming up. So first, what did I sell? All of my large bass trombone mouthpieces. They're gone. All my Greg Blacks that I've had for years at this point, gone. My whole collection of Laskys, 90, 93, 95, gone. GP6, gone. Yamaha Yo, gone. Shilky 60D, prototype, one of one, gone. They're all gone. And don't regret it one bit. I finally, we'll talk about it in a moment, got a new bass trombone mouthpiece for the first time in at least a few months. And I enjoy it so much, and it feels so natural that I'm like, the big stuff has got to go. It's not worth keeping around as mouthpieces. It's worth more as money than just taking up room in my mouthpiece drawer. So I sold all of those. I also sold my Shire's 2 sterling silver lead pipe for bass trombone. I had been using it for a while, and I didn't not like it, but when I put in my Edwards slide with the nickel silver George Roberts lead pipe from Brass Arc, I was just like, man, this thing's way easier in the low range than my Shire slide. And I don't feel like it's a slide. And so I swapped lead pipes around and stuff. And when I went back to my normal 2 in brass, just like the most standard Shire's lead pipe, everything got easier. It doesn't have that sterling silver quality, that like extra bit of core that you get, maybe a little bit of color as well. But otherwise, it still sounds good, and it's easier to play everywhere. It's more flexible, articulations are easier. I was kind of surprised at how kind of massive a difference it was. So I realized there's no point in keeping this lead pipe that's worth like $200 around, so I sold it. I sold my accidental dual bore slide with the old 551 upper, the Holt 185 lead pipe. It has a nickel silver crook, like super custom slide. Very cool. I love the sound it made, but I was like, I'm not going to use this that often. And somebody hit me up looking for a slide, and I was like, well, I have basically exactly what you want. Something that's like a little bit smaller than a stock 50 slide, but still sounds really nice and girthy. So I made a good sale there. I sold my Corporation LT16M, one of my box small bores. Of course, I had 2 of those. I had a 90s one and a 70s one. The 90s one is magic. It's basically perfect. It's as good as you could possibly want. The 70s one is pretty good. I really don't need 2. So finally had a friend hit me up, and he's like, hey, I want a backup for my 16. And I was like, guess what I have? The exact instrument that you want. And I heard him play it, and he sounds great on it. So again, another great sale there. I feel like I probably sold something else, but I can't remember. In any case, bunch of stuff went out the door. Bunch of stuff came in. So massive buyings. Probably the most boring one, to me anyway, is this Edwards TBCN slide. This is basically the Edwards version of the Shire slide that I already have. The TB47, there we go, which is yellow outers, over sleeves, in nickel, of course, nickel base crook. So I have a Shire's version of this and an Edwards version of this. Basically the same thing. Obviously they play differently, they feel different, they're from different makers, but the same idea, the same principle in 2 different slides. So I'll be able to tell which one I like more when I eventually get my Bach project, and the other one will probably get sold. And I haven't played this or anything. I literally just got it out and cleaned it, and I don't have a horn to play it on. So back on the desk it goes. I also got another King 3DF. Yes, another King 3DF. Yeah, you might be thinking, don't you already have one of those? Wait, don't you have like 2 of those already? Yeah, here's basically another one. Yeah, I have 3 of these small Kings with F attachments. I really like them though, and this one was super cheap. Now, there's a reason it was cheap. Slide is borked. It's got some serious dents in the outers. I'm going to have those taken out, if possible, by a tech, and then I'll have a nice backup 3B slide, which I've wanted for a while. It's been kind of weirdly difficult to find a 3B slide. And then the rest of this is in pretty good shape. The tube here is a little ovaled out. Someone hit it on their shoulder really hard or something, who knows. The knuckle right here has definitely been busted. It got crunched at some point. It's not too bad. It still works, but it does make the bell a little bit sad. It's very close to the slide. It has the updated string linkage, that's what this is called, which means the valve actually turns the other way compared to the older ones. I don't know if you can remember what I just did, but this actually turns the other direction. And they updated it because the throw on the older ones is really long. It's like this, as compared to the string linkage, which is much shorter. It's like at least half of the distance. So it's actually kind of nice. Tuning slide seems to be in pretty good shape. Someone took all the lacquer off and gave it a satin finish. Thank you very much. The bell is in okay shape. It's got a bit of a crease here, a couple dings, but it's really not in that bad of shape. And the plan for this is for a bunch of those parts to be mounted on my 607F, which of course is 525, is the intermediate version of the 3B Plus with F attachment. I've really enjoyed this horn. I put it through its paces the last few days, like ultimate trial by fire. 3 different gigs, 3 different days, totally different sections, weather, everything was just completely random, and it did really well. I really enjoyed it. I'm still looking, well, not looking now that I have one, but for a bell that's a little less snaky than this one. You can see it kind of whoop, does a bunch of stuff. The tuning side is very beat up. I wouldn't be surprised if it got cracked soon if someone tried to fix it or something, because it's very thin, pretty beat up, but otherwise it's in really good shape. I really like how it plays. The sound is missing just a little bit of that keen color. I wonder if that will come back with a real 3B bell. Who knows? But I'm thinking that bell and tuning slide get put on here, and this becomes more of a King 3B than it is now, which is, it's like 60% of the way there. So really enjoyed playing this. Also bought, this is a big one, second biggest one of the day here. This bass trombone mouthpiece, a Griego Marquis 85. So Kristen Griego got the Lasky mouthpieces. He and James Markey went over them, fixed the things that are kind of weird about Laskys, and this is what we end up with. This is basically a Lasky 85 MD is what that would be called, but all the quirks are gone. And that's it. It's got a rim that's more comfortable than the Lasky rims. I really liked those Lasky mouthpieces, but the rims are just not super comfortable. It's a little more even everywhere. The blank is just a little bit heavier. The Lasky ones are usually pretty light, and it just plays so well. I can just pick the horn up and I make a sound that's very much like the sound of my head almost right away, instead of 45 minutes of going, whoa, okay, I figured it out. This just kind of does it immediately. It's the same rim size approximately as the Bach 1 1/4 GM that I've been playing, but with a much more manageable 0.302 throat as opposed to 0.319, literally 17 thousandths larger, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's really big. That's the difference between putting a permanent marker through the mouthpiece or just a pencil. It's huge throat on the 1 1/4 GM. Otherwise, they're roughly similar, but this is just such a much more modern, well thought out design, and it is great. I'm so happy with it, and this is the reason I sold all my big mouthpieces. I had this for a week, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going back. I can play softer, I can play louder, I can play higher, I can play lower, I can do everything better. And it's showing up both playing with people and in recordings. I just recorded a bunch of stuff to go to a seminar this summer. It was so much easier than it's ever been with this mouthpiece. Obviously, I'm improving alongside it, but the mouthpiece made a pretty big difference. The biggest thing is I have finally joined the 21st century, and I bought an iPad Pro. No, this is not M1 iPad. This is not like the most brand new possible thing. This is a Generation 3 from 2018. It's the 12.9 inch, just like all the other iPad Pros. I'm not going to spend $1,200 on a freaking tablet just so I can read music off of it. But I will spend, a few $100 on that because there's kind of no other option. There's nothing cheaper and there's nothing better. I did a lot of research. I looked at the Samsung Galaxy Tab. I've looked at a lot of things, and this is kind of what won out. Didn't want to get an earlier iPad because they'll have worse battery life, less compatibility going forwards, and I didn't want to get a new one because they're just $1,000,000,000. I mean, both of my computers, I have a laptop and a desktop, a gaming desktop, did not cost as much as a new Apple iPad Pro. So I got a used one, and I've already got 4 score for it. Very excited to use it. I literally have not yet. I've spent like all day setting this up because I hate Apple products, but it took forever to get set up, and I'm still excited for it. Still, like I said, don't like Apple stuff, but this is a pretty good tablet. Very excited to see how this works out, and I'll have like a full review of what I think working with this is like. But I might even use it this weekend because I'm traveling and I'll need to have music with me. I can just take the iPad instead of a big sheaf of paper that I need a stand for and all this other stuff. So that's it. Huge update. I've got an audition coming up this next week. And after that, thankfully, kind of nothing for a while. Nothing big. I still have normal stuff, but no like huge things to prepare for. So that's it. That's all I got, and I'll see you in a video soonish. Bye-bye.